Thank you, Bob, for that introduction, and thank you for your consummate leadership. There is always a small team of dedicated people who make things happen. Yes, a vision has to be expressed, and I'll get to Bill Bowman in just a few minutes and John Garvey, but I want to publicly express our appreciation to Bob Keith, to Matt Brock, to Rebecca Teddy, and to Beatrice Lopez for being the team that has put this standing room only crowd together and has kicked off this recruitment effort to bring nominating partners together from throughout the Washington community and to ultimately put those 75 to 100 entrepreneurs. So please, I'd like to ask the four of you to stand and be recognized. Bob, Rebecca, Matt, and Beatrice, thank you so much. And we're proud to come together once again with John Garvey. John was Dean of the Boston College Law School. I live a half mile from the Boston College Law School, and we're proud to reconnect with him. I also want to make sure that we recognize Gene Garvey, because Bob Keith recognized that a Stanford MBA on this campus could do something significant to help really nurture this program. Bob Keith reached out to Gene, and she's going to be fully engaged in this program. So when you get a dynamic duo like John and Gene Garvey leading the university and being engaged in this program, that is a powerful partnership. John, thanks so much, and Gene. I also want to recognize a couple of other partners and alumni of our program. I want to recognize our colleagues and friends from the Menkiti Group. Could they please stand for just a moment, please, from the Menkiti Group? Now, why do I recognize the Menkiti Group? Well, the Menkiti Group is an organization located right here in the neighborhood. They're in the real estate business. They've been in business for 12 years. They're graduates of Inner City Capital Connections, so they participated in the program. They came together, they learned about strategy and sales and marketing and entrepreneurial finance and team building. They were exposed to capital, debt and equity, coaching, mentoring. They went to our New York Capital Matching Conference, and they became, last year, one of the 100 companies that were recognized in our Inner City 100 as one of the 100 fastest growing companies in America, judged by revenues in partnership with Fortune magazine. That's what growth is all about. Ultimately, it's about creating good paying jobs right here in the distressed neighborhoods of Washington, D.C. Not satisfied with simply being honored, they met another company at the Inner City 100, came together and put together their own dynamic partnership, which will create more than 150 additional jobs right here in D.C. So thanks to the Menkiti Group for their leadership. And you'll be hearing in just a few minutes from Pedro Alfonso, one of our other distinguished Inner City Capital Connections graduates, and he'll share with you his perspective as to how this helped change his business, because ultimately we're in the business of changing people's lives. That's what this is really all about. So I have a question. What would an enormously successful serial entrepreneur named Bill Bowman, with 9 children, 6 of whom live in the Boston area, 2 in Virginia, 1 in Los Angeles, 21 grandchildren, 2 more on the way this spring before we even run the program starting on September 20th. It'll be 23 by the 20th of September. What would a man like Bill Bowman do, pulling up stakes, selling his house in Arlington, Massachusetts, and moving with his wife Lee, who's here this morning, to DC to become Dean of the Business School? Well, the answer is pretty simple, and Cardinal Wuerl really laid it out. 3 words: Catholic social teaching. Bill Bowman believes that business can be a force for good. He and the university believe that it is critical to engage our neighbors, that we live in a society characterized by severe economic insecurity, particularly in our neighborhoods. Bob Keith is a fan of quotes. I love quotes as well, because frankly, other people have said it way better than I could. And I want to take us all the way back to the words of the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah 58. If you offer your compassion to the hungry and relieve the oppressed. Then shall your light shine in darkness, and your gloom shall be like noonday. Isaiah goes on to say, and the Lord will guide us always. He will slake our thirst in parched places and give strength to our bones. You will be like a watered garden, like a spring whose waters will not fail. And you will be known as the rebuilder of ancient walls, the restorer of dwelling places, the repairer of the breach. There is a breach in our society. We all know it. And the question is, what do we do about it? And how is the foremost Catholic university in America playing a leadership role, a pioneering role in repairing that breach? That's what brought Bill Bowman here as Dean of the Bush School of Business. And that's what brings us together in this extraordinary partnership. I could ask another question. Why would a professor at Harvard Business School, arguably the most well-known student and strategist and teacher of strategy and competitiveness in the world, why would he start an organization like ICCC back in 1994? Well, it came out of the LA riots. A student of his, Willie Woods, came to him and says, Dr. Porter, when are you going to take your talent and address the needs of our inner cities? Our inner cities are burning up. 34% of the minority poverty in America is in our inner cities. We will never guarantee equal outcomes for everyone, but we sure as heck should be in the business of providing equal opportunity for everyone. So in 1994, Michael Porter started ICIC to catalyze inner-city economic revitalization, wrote a paper in 1997, well-known paper 20 years ago, that talked about the competitive advantages of inner cities. Most people thought he was a little nuts. How on earth do cities and inner cities have competitive advantages? But we now know that they do. And it's about human capital. And it's about being near transportation hubs. And it's about a workforce that can be trained and educated and coached and mentored and turned into a powerful force for economic growth and wealth creation for a whole generation of inner city residents. So I came here 2 years ago tomorrow, and on day one I met Hyacinth Vassell. And Hyacinth has run this program from day one. 2 years ago, we were in 3 cities working with 180 companies. This year, we're in 11 cities, and we work with 800 companies. We've almost quadrupled. And one of the reasons we've done that is we've connected with great partners. I want to recognize one of those partners here this morning. I believe at least one or more of our colleagues from Kaiser Permanente are here. Are Audrey Johnson and Maritha Gay here? If they are, could they please stand? And why did Kaiser Permanente, located in Oakland, California, take on this partnership? What did they see in this? Well, Kaiser Permanente is a nonprofit with 180,000 employees doing almost $70 billion in revenue. And they said, if we can create a pilot program in Los Angeles and it works, we can take this to Baltimore and Atlanta and Denver and Portland, Oregon and Seattle. We can take our responsibility and turn moral leadership into positive action, which is really what the Holy Father and all of the leadership of this great Catholic Church and this university are all about. So Hyacinth and I built a wonderful relationship, and you're going to hear all about what Hyacinth does and what we're going to ask each one of you to do, because you're all here. We're going to actually put in your hands, at the end of the day, an opportunity to turn moral leadership into positive action. We're going to put you to work. We're going to ask you all to serve as nominating partners for these inner city businesses, because we brought together the entire community here this morning. We brought together the university leadership and other deans and other colleges and universities and anchor institutions and organizations that are nonprofits that know the community. This is a program that's built from the bottom up and not from the top down. There are many of you who know what's going on in your neighborhoods, in the streets and neighborhoods of some of our most challenged areas of this community. And that's what we're coming all together to create the kind of synergy that can change the face of the community and give a whole generation of Bush students an opportunity to go into those businesses, to go into those communities, and actually work and be a force for good, get to know their neighborhood, and really turn these communities into engines of economic growth.